I'm Rob Spurko. I'm with the English department at the University of Tennessee. I'm here with a couple of other people associated with the department. We've got Khoi and Ashley Dailey, and they've started up the Chiasmus reading series, a virtual online reading series um, to sort of feature poetry and other writing, fiction in the pandemic. So I just wanted to ask you, where did you come up with the idea to do this series? How did this get started?
I think I can take this because I think I'm responsible for kind of looping Ashley in. Basically, as soon as classes were kind of announced that they would be going online, and people were starting to like figure out where they were going to be in terms of hunkering down, going back home, and so forth. There was just so much fear and anxiety, and because of the uncertainty. I mean, I think there still is, but we are now settled into this odd pandemic routine. And immediately, my speaking agency started to do a reading series, and so I logged on to watch one, and it like brought me such joy just to see like Sam Sachs, just to see like all these different writers in their various respective homes reading. Somebody played a ukulele, and I was like, oh, and I was like, are there more? And I was trying to Google this. I mean, now there's a ton, but at the time there weren't a ton yet in that very first kind of week when we all started to go online. And so immediately I was like, I wrote an email to Michael, Margaret, and Chris asking, do you think it'd be okay if I kind of reached out to do a community reading series? Since I know that the students are kind of freaked out, the undergraduate students were no longer resuming life as normal. And also like all of our events are now canceled, right, for the rest of the year. So what if we just found a way to kind of just check in with each other and listen to each other, but also like thinking about equity across different like education and life stages. So wanting to be inclusive of undergrads, grads, and also faculty, because I think too often um, students don't get to hear from faculty at readings, and we of course get to hear from students, but not all the students all together. So that's kind of what started. They're like, yes, and then I began to kind of curate, like figure out email lists to connect to. And then at the time I was actually chatting with Ashley, and she really was, I mean, yeah, I don't want to speak for Ashley, but I can just briefly describe that she was really excited about the idea. And then yeah, I think I tricked her into continuing with the logistics, but she brought up a bunch of kind of great points too about how to weave it. And yeah, so I guess I'll let Ashley kind of speak to her involvement in this.
I think that there was kind of a period of mourning almost for me when I realized we were going online, especially when I realized it was going to last till the end of the semester. And there's still a little bit of that when I think about the possibility of going online for the fall, because, a lot of the work that we do as grad students, we're doing it thinking about it as something that we can do outside the classroom. Like we're looking for other platforms to showcase what we're doing. And whenever this pandemic broke out, I mean, there were, of course, tons of conferences canceled, readings canceled, and of course, most importantly, our classes were canceled. And so, whereas, all this year we've been working to build this community and these friendships with our peers and stuff, it felt like all of that was kind of like swept away. So I was talking to Diana about all of these feelings, and she brought up this idea for the virtual reading series. And I was really on board with it, as this idea of like how a way of building community and feelings of unity in the middle of all of this kind of sadness and isolation and panic. So I was very on board with that. And then when we started reaching out to the faculty, we were like kind of overwhelmed by how supportive the faculty members were. Everybody signed up to read. We didn't have trouble filling the faculty spots at all. And so that kind of, once that opened up, we started reaching out to the students and engaging interest. And I think that it's been really great. We have some recent UT graduates that are reading. We have people who are joining the MFA program next year who are going to be reading. Ileana Rocha, who is a professor at Central Oklahoma, I believe right now, is going to be joining the staff next year, and she's part of the reading. So it's also been an opportunity to think about like what is the UT community. It isn't just like, you know, the people sitting in the classrooms right now. It's like the people that came before us and are coming into the future. And I think that that's kind of in the spirit of this idea of chiasmus too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I was curious about that. You know, the titles like crossing, intersections, right? And so, and it's great to, you know, think about the ways that, you know, sort of the unexpected affordances of this pandemic and its isolation, you know, have been to create new kinds of community, even on top of communities we thought existed in certain ways already, like the UT community, like you were just saying. How's it gone? Like, what are some of the good things y'all have noticed coming out of the first couple of readings you've done?
We're just thinking. I'm thinking. I don't know. I love being able to see the names and the faces of those who are in attendance. And actually, that won't be the case anymore for the next two readings due to security issues. But it was just like, oh, you know, like in your day to day, you get to see people walking in the hallways or in the copy room or at the microwave. And now we don't have that. You know, of course, we know that all of these different bodies are part of the community, but to have that kind of physical meeting space, that we're all listening to the same person for that hour was really nice. And then even like the little chit chat that happens during the break. It just felt like we got in touch with each other. Especially in a time of social distancing, which feels kind of hard. So I guess that's what I've noticed. And also, maybe this is not what the question was asking, but the undergrads were reluctant to kind of sign up, I noticed. And one of them actually shared that they weren't familiar with Zoom, and also like they had never given a reading. So for a lot of the undergrads that were reading, it was their first time doing a reading, and it was like virtual. So there's like this added layer of kind of anxiety or like, you know, kind of stage fright element. So that I hadn't even thought about that. I was like, yeah, of course, just read. You know, you're like, you talk in class, that's fine. And but yeah, some have expressed. So I sent them some tips. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what Ashley has observed as well.
I really like the idea of equity that that Diana was talking about before. Sorry, that's my cat in the background. I like that, like, we've been trying to build a platform, right, for people who maybe don't normally have a lot of readers to have the opportunity to have an audience. And I like the idea that there are people at the very beginning of their writing career who now have the opportunity to share their work with people who otherwise wouldn't be reading it, right? They don't have books or publications yet. But then we also have like the more experienced faculty members who do have books, and they're kind of drawing in their, or ideally they're drawing in their audience that they've already established. But then it's not like, because of the way that the time frame works and the way people are presented, there's no hierarchy or order to it. So it's not like, oh, people are coming here for the professors and undergrads just, you know, get to share the stage. It's like, I guess that's been a cool thing. I think that everybody is coming together in this like spirit of equality or
that you don't have the sort of headliners and opening acts kind of set up, and I think that's great. You know, it just really strikes me that there's a lot of potential, you know, for students to see and learn and experience, like y'all were saying, you know, and that it's, you know, there is a way in which some of this has been kind of leveling, right, this whole experience, and we're seeing each other in new ways, and you know, looking at each other's living rooms, or you know, into the, you know, and so there's a I don't want to say intimacy because that's not exactly the right word, but there's a different kind of getting to know people and the way y'all have set this up seems fantastic in, in the opportunities and options it provides on that front. So I would just like to thank you all for doing this. I think it's a great series, and it's going to continue for a couple of more weeks here. And honestly, I'm thinking, maybe next year. I mean, there are ways in which, we don't have to stop doing some of these things that are actually good, even when the isolation orders are lifted. Because I think there are things that you can do in this environment that you can't do physically. I mean, bringing people in from other places easily, right? And, and even like say future faculty members and future grad students can even start connecting to the department. So thank you. So any final thoughts or things you want to share at this point?
I don't think so, but I hope it does continue in some fashion. Just hearing Ashley reflect about equity, I've heard just so many stories and also witnessed myself, this kind of like passive aggressive diva complex of some writers, like when there's multiple people in a lineup, people requesting to go last, or whatever. Like nobody ever wants to go first. I always want to go first because then like I can relax and then listen to everybody else. So that's just me. I literally use like the DNA strand in terms of how I choose the order for the readers. So for the first reading, I forget, like I think maybe it was like grad, undergrad, professor, and then grad, undergrad. And then the next week I would change that kind of order. So there's never the same kind of status in any place. And it just kind of weaves. I don't know. I was like, if we're going to call it a literary term, I should at least do something with that term in secret. But now it's not a secret because I just shared how the chiasmus manifests in the order. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, and I did have some grad students the other day express to me that they would be interested in this being something to continue through the summer. I don't know like long term or what that would look like. Like I'm sure we wouldn't be doing it every week. I think I would go insane. But I think it could be something cool to do monthly, especially when school isn't in session and everybody is looking for an opportunity to continue to engage in the community. So we'll see.
Cool. Awesome. So Chiasmus reading series, Monday nights at 6. There'll be a link on the English page for how to register for it. Again, thank you two for setting it up and making it work. And good luck and stay healthy. Thanks.
You too, everybody. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Rob.